Hey, what's up? This is Sports Truth. I'm your host, Jordan Harris. So, today we're going to be talking about the Cowboys game. They lost to the Eagles 28 to 23. I know there's a lot of people out there who seem to bask in their glory when the Cowboys lose. They seem like they woke up on the right side of the bed whenever the Cowboys lost. They pound their chest, stand on top of a mountain, and smile as big as they possibly can every time the Cowboys lose. To be honest with you, I am one of those people. I cannot stand the Cowboys. When they lose, I look at Skip Bayless's Twitter feed. I'm all over the Twitter to see how these people are melting down because their team lost. The Cowboy. Okay, so we'll talk about why I am that way, why I can't stand the Cowboys, and why I love it when they lose. But first, let's get into a quick recap. We'll talk about what happened in the game. So the Eagles won 28-23. Okay. Dallas Cowboys fall to 5-3. The Eagles go to 8-1. If you didn't think the Eagles were going to start off fast this year, you're crazy. Like they looked amazing last year. They almost won the whole thing. They just couldn't quite get it done. But let's go through these stats real quick. So Dak Prescott threw for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns. Played maybe his best game as a Cowboy. I don't know. He looked amazing. Jalen Hurts 17 for 23. So he was really efficient. 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's kind of what you expect from Jalen Hurts. He's not going to put up 375 yards. He's not going to put up Peyton Manning and Tom Brady numbers. He's kind of serviceable, and then he is ridiculous with his legs. Serviceable thrower, wonderful runner. It's just what he is. And he seems to be having some lower leg issues, too, so that might be a problem going down the line. Rushing yards, Tony Pollard had 51 yards on 12 carries. Only 12 carries is kind of crazy, but DeAndre Swift, 18 carries for 43 yards. And then CeeDee Lamb balled out of his mind. He had 11 receptions for 191 yards, and A.J. Brown, 7 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. All right, so that's our quick recap. So let's get into why people. I hate speaking for other people, but I'm going to today. So let's talk about why people tend to dislike the Cowboys and why they're so happy when the Cowboys lose, which seems to be really often lately. But there's a stat that they showed during, it was like right before halftime. And the stat blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is that for real? So this was the 8th game of their season. So we're like the midpoint of the year. And the Cowboys up to this point has every win that they've had, it's been like an average of 20 something points, or maybe 30. Every loss that they've had, it was an average of 20 or 30 points. Also, there's been one lead change in all 8 games for the Dallas Cowboys. That means if the Cowboys score first, they never give the lead up. If the opposition scores first, the Cowboys will never come and overtake the lead. They've only had one lead change all year, and that blew my mind. The reason why it blew my mind is because it was the epitome or a microcosm of who the Cowboys are and who they've always been to me, which is front runners. I cannot stand front runners. When everything is going well, if they get up 14-0, before you know it, the Cowboys going to be up 28-0. Jump on the opposition kind of like they did against the Rams. If the Cowboys don't score first, let's talk about maybe the 49ers game. They get down 14-0, before you know it, the Cowboys going to be down 28-0. That's just how they operate, and it seems to me like that's how they always operate. The second reason why they irritate me, the fans. Like the Cowboys have the most passionate fans I can think of in sports history. Like you can talk about the Yankees, the Los Angeles Lakers, whatever sport you're talking about, the Cowboys have the most passionate fan base. And honestly, they're kind of easy targets. At the beginning of the year, they're always saying, yep, this is our year. We're going to finally do it. This is our year. They get a few nice, have a few games where their quarterback shows out, maybe throws 374 yards. And they say, oh, yeah, we're going to finally get it done this year. Dak got it figured out. Get to the playoffs, and they do what the Cowboys do. They lose. So the fact that their fans are so passionate and they got such a huge ego about their team as if they've won all these championships like the Patriots did or something blows me away. Also, they behave like their players. So this is the third reason why. The players, they behave like they've actually done something, and it drives me crazy. So what am I talking about? So like CD Lamb, every time he catches a ball, you think that he just scored a touchdown as much as he celebrates. He can catch like a 8 yard slant, get tackled. He's standing up doing all of his little celebrations, a quick little first down. He doing all of his little pointing and dancing and doing all that. It's like, bro, you just made an 8 yard catch. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. But then when it comes to winning time, CeeDee Lamb is nowhere in the picture. When it comes down to like third and goal from the 6 yard line, they're not going to spread CeeDee Lamb out wide and just throw it up to him. Not going to happen. They're not going to have him do a Julian Edelman uh, quick slant and then pivot out to the out route. They're not going to do that with CeeDee Lamb. So throughout the whole game, he's doing all this talking and doing all this celebration, but winning time, he's doing nothing. So that gets on my nerves. I don't know if you remember when Zeke Elliott was playing. Every time he get a 5, 7 yard run, he get up doing all this. It's like, man, you're down 17 points. It's in the fourth quarter. Quit doing that. Micah Parsons, every time he gets a sack, he crawling all over the floor like some demon or Gollum or something from Lord of the Rings. It's like, you're down 10 points, there's 6 minutes left, and you doing all this crawling and celebrating. Also, he wants to have a podcast now. I cannot stand players who are actively playing and they're doing a podcast telling other teams what they should be doing. Drives me crazy. I say you should be the hour and a half or the 2 hours that you're working on your podcast, you should be using those couple of hours to make your team better. Don't tell me about what the Dolphins should have done differently about the Chiefs yesterday when your team just lost to the Eagles. I don't want to hear it. You probably should be at your facility doing some extra leg lifts or something. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I do like Dak Prescott. He seems like a real cool guy. He's real humble. He seems like he's cursed though. Like I'm just gonna show you this play, okay? If anybody were to say, Jordan, who is Dak Prescott? Tell me who he is. I would play this play right here. So not this play. This is when he scored the touchdown. They were down 11, scored a touchdown, and they had to go for 2. This is the play that I would show them. If they said, who is Dak Prescott? I would say, this is him in a this is a microcosm of his whole career. They got to go for 2, and he gets it, right? And they go, well, no, let's review it. Looks like he got it, but then you review it, and his foot steps out of bounds just before he scores that 2-point conversion. That is a microcosm of who Dak Prescott is to me. It's like, it looks like he saves the day. Lo and behold, didn't happen. It's like, hold on, well, let's check the review real quick. Oh, sorry, he stepped out of bounds right before the ball crossed. That is who Dak Prescott is, and I'm thinking that's probably how the rest of his career will go because that's how it's gone up to this point. I can't really see a way that it's going to change, but God bless him. I think he seems like a decent guy. He just seems like his football career, as far as with the Cowboys go, is like almost cursed or something. It's crazy. Okay, that's enough about the Cowboys and the reason why I can't stand them dudes. But I want to talk about the Eagles real quick, okay? Because there were 2 different teams that played in this game. So let's focus on the other team. If you ask me, the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFL. Their offensive line is probably the best in the league. Their defensive line is top 5 in the league. And if you talk to any football head, they'll tell you if you win the line of scrimmage, you're most likely going to win that game. And they seem to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. People cannot penetrate their offensive line. They got Lane Johnson up there. They got Kelsey, can't penetrate their offensive line. And then on the other side of the ball, you can't keep their defensive line from getting to your quarterback. So if you're losing both sides of the line of scrimmage like that, you're probably going to lose, and that's why the Eagles seem to beat everybody convincingly. Jalen Hurts, I know people are real high on Jalen Hurts. I've always thought that he was just serviceable. Maybe this kind of goes back to the championship game when he was in college and he had to be taken out of a college game because he couldn't make certain throws. If you can't make certain throws in a college game, it's really hard for me to imagine you making those throws when you get to the NFL because all of the windows go from here to here. Instead of somebody being 2 yards open, you have to throw them open in the NFL. So if they can't make certain throws in college, I'm like, how are they gonna do that in the pros? And I don't think he's as good of a thrower as people think that he is. I think he's just serviceable as a thrower, and he is a really good runner of the football, like better than some running backs even. AJ Brown, I think he gets overlooked a little bit because he is a wide receiver who can get open really well, but he fits the Eagles' mentality so well. It's crazy. Like they play a physical style of football, and there's not a more physical wide receiver in the NFL than A.J. Brown. You can throw him little jailbreak screens. He's going to break a couple of tackles and get the first down for you. Or you can throw him a go route, and he'll beat the defensive back down the field, 50, 60-yard pass. So he's a handful to deal with. And then you also have Devontae Smith, who runs routes really well. He's not a Jerry Rice or anything like that, but he runs routes super smooth. Like he is a smooth football player. So, and then the running back Swift, he is quick, he's fast, and he's physical. And then the Eagles do this tush push thing, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I hope they outlaw that play because it's just, for one, it looks super unsafe. The sport of football is already unsafe, but then when you got Kelsey snapping the ball and then just diving at the nose tackle's legs, and then everybody basically just piles on top of Kelsey and pushes forward. That just seems like an accident waiting to happen to me. Football's already tough enough. It's already dangerous enough. I think they got to do something to where they take that rule out or take that play out. And then also, it just seems like an unfair advantage. Like, when it comes to sports, anything that is an unfair advantage, a lot of times they change the rules because there's nothing that can keep it from happening. Like when Wilt Chamberlain was playing college basketball, they changed the paint, and they made a 3 seconds in the three in the key rule. He was able to straddle the paint for a while, so you couldn't call that. So they made all these different changes because Wilt Chamberlain was too good for the sport. This is one of those things where I think they figured something out that is too good for the sport. There's nothing you can do to stop this from happening. They got that play figured out. I'm a Buccaneers fan, unfortunately. I watched the Eagles. It was 3rd and 3. They did the tush push and got it to 4th and 1 and then did it again and got the first down. I'm like, if you get a 3rd and 3 and you do the same play 2 times in a row because you know you're going to get that, they need to outlaw that rule. Like, they are just taking advantage of something that it's crazy to me. So, yeah, hopefully they do take that rule out, but we'll see. I'm just one person here complaining about it, so who knows what they'll do. But that is all that I have for you today. I just wanted to do a quick little recap on that game and then get it off my chest a little bit why people dislike the Cowboys as much as they do. And maybe explain why I dislike them as much as I do. So, again, this is Sports Truth. I'm your host, Jordan Harris. We are pushing to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's early November, so we've got about 60 days or so. Please do help us meet that goal. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the time that you've given us. I appreciate you watching, clicking on this video, and watching all the way to the end. As always, God bless. Take care. Peace.